Welcome back to Immigration Updates. Imagine this. You file a petition for your brother back home, thinking maybe in a couple of years you'll finally be able to hug him at the airport. You check the mailbox every day. You refresh your USCIS account every night before bed. Weeks turn into months. Months turn into years. And then one day you find out the honest truth. Some family petitions right now are taking almost 24 years to fully process. Not 24 months. 24 years. That's not a typo, and it's not a scare tactic. It's happening right now, in 2026, to real families just like yours. But here is what most people still do not realize. Submitting Form I-130 does not mean your relative is packing their bags anytime soon. It's just the very first step in a long chain of steps, and depending on who you are and who you're petitioning for, that chain can be short, or it can stretch across a huge portion of someone's life. So let's talk about what's actually going on, why this matters so much right now, and what you need to understand before you even file that paperwork. Form I-130, officially called the Petition for Alien Relative, is the foundation of almost every family-based green card case in the United States. Its only job is to prove one thing to USCIS: that a real, qualifying family relationship exists between the person filing and the relative overseas or already living in the U.S. That's it. It doesn't hand out a green card. It doesn't guarantee travel. It simply opens the door to the next stage. This is where many people make a mistake. They assume approval of this form means the process is basically finished. In reality, it's often just the beginning. And that misunderstanding is exactly why so many families feel blindsided when they hear how long the full journey can actually take. Here's why this matters right now, in 2026. Processing times have shifted again this year, and the gap between categories has become more extreme than ever. Your wait depends on several things working together. Your relationship to the person you're sponsoring. Whether you're a U.S. citizen or a green card holder. Which USCIS service center ends up handling your file. Current USCIS workloads. Annual visa caps set by Congress. And existing backlogs that have been building for years in certain categories. Immediate relatives of U.S. citizens, meaning spouses, parents, and children under 21, generally move faster because there's no yearly cap limiting how many of them can receive visas. But family preference categories are a completely different story, because Congress limits how many immigrant visas can be issued in those categories every single year. And when demand is higher than the number of available visas, a backlog forms. That backlog is where these shocking multi-year, and in some cases multi-decade, wait times come from. Let's walk through the real numbers as they stand today, because your situation could fall into more than one of these. For immediate relatives, that's spouses, parents, and children under 21 of U.S. citizens, current timelines run between about 20 months and 72 months. For the F1 category, which covers unmarried adult children of U.S. citizens, the range jumps to between 52 and 216 months. F3, for married sons and daughters of U.S. citizens, runs from about 64.5 months up to 159 months. F4, which covers siblings of U.S. citizens, is the longest of them all, ranging from 59.5 months all the way up to 286.5 months. F2A, covering spouses and unmarried children under 21 of green card holders, falls between 52 and 129.5 months. And F2B, for unmarried adult children of green card holders, ranges from 50.5 months to 153.5 months. Take a moment and really sit with that gap. On one end, under 2 years. On the other end, close to 24 years. That is the reality families are facing depending purely on which box they fall into. Now let's go category by category, because your own situation might look very different depending on your status. If you're a U.S. citizen petitioning for your spouse, your husband or wife counts as an immediate relative, so there's no visa backlog standing in the way. But USCIS processing still takes real time. Right now, the National Benefits Center is averaging around 51.5 months. Certain service center operations are moving faster, closer to 20 months. But some field offices are taking as long as 72 months to finish the majority of their cases. If you're a green card holder petitioning for your spouse, things shift into the F2A category, which does depend on visa availability. The National Benefits Center is currently around 52 months, service center timing follows the monthly visa bulletin, and field offices can stretch out to 129.5 months. Parents are a bit more straightforward, but only U.S. citizens can petition for a parent. Green card holders are not eligible to file this petition for a parent at all. Since parents are considered immediate relatives, there's no annual cap. Even so, current timelines show the National Benefits Center at roughly 51.5 months, faster service center processing around 20 months, and field offices reaching up to 72 months. Now siblings. This is, without question, the toughest category in the entire system. Only U.S. citizens can sponsor a brother or sister, and green card holders cannot file at all. Sibling petitions fall under F4, which carries both an annual cap and a heavy, long-standing backlog. If you were born in a country with especially high demand, like India, Mexico, or the Philippines, your wait can stretch even further past the averages. Right now, the National Benefits Center is around 59.5 months, and some field offices are reporting wait times up to 286.5 months. That's the 24-year figure people are talking about. And here's something crucial to understand. Even after your I-130 gets approved, your relative still has to wait for their priority date to become current before they can move forward at all. For children under 21, if you're a U.S. citizen, your child is an immediate relative with no visa cap involved. National Benefits Center timing runs about 51.5 months, service center handling can be quicker at around 20 months, but field offices may take up to 72 months. If you're a green card holder, your child falls under F2A instead. National Benefits Center processing is close to 52 months, and field offices can reach 129.5 months. If your son or daughter is unmarried but already 21 or older, U.S. citizens fall under F1, with field office cases potentially stretching to 216 months. Green card holders fall under F2B, with field offices reaching as high as 153.5 months. And once again, applicants from high-demand countries may see even longer delays layered on top of these averages. If your son or daughter is married, only U.S. citizens can file for them at all. This falls under F3, with National Benefits Center processing around 64.5 months, and field offices taking up to 159 months. Here's a point that trips up almost everyone, so listen closely. Approval of Form I-130 is not the finish line. It's a checkpoint. Once it's approved, the beneficiary moves into the next stage. If they're already inside the United States and eligible, they may apply for adjustment of status. If they're overseas, they continue through consular processing at a U.S. embassy or consulate. And for most family preference categories, they also have to wait until their priority date becomes current on the monthly visa bulletin before any of that can even begin. This is not just a recommendation to understand. In practical terms, it is the law shaping every single one of these timelines. Let's answer the two questions people ask most. Does approval mean your relative can travel to the U.S. right away? No. Approval only confirms that the family relationship is real. It does not grant a green card, an immigrant visa, or permission to travel. There are still more steps ahead. Can the process be expedited? In rare cases, yes. USCIS generally only grants expedite requests for humanitarian emergencies, military deployment situations, or other urgent qualifying circumstances, and you'll need strong documentation to support that request. So here's the fast recap. Form I-130 confirms your family relationship, nothing more. Immediate relatives move faster because there's no annual cap. Family preference categories, especially siblings under F4, can take years, sometimes decades, because of visa caps and backlogs. Approval is a milestone, not the end of the road. And expedited processing is only available in genuine emergencies. If there's one thing to take away from all of this, it's that timelines shift constantly, and what's true today might change again in a few months. Don't rely on guesswork or outdated numbers you saw somewhere online. Always check the official USCIS website and the monthly visa bulletin for the most current information on your specific case. If you found this helpful, share it with anyone who's waiting on a petition right now, because this kind of information can genuinely change how someone plans the next several years of their life. And if you want accurate, no-nonsense updates on U.S. immigration policy, green card timelines, and visa news, make sure you're subscribed, because this is exactly the kind of thing we cover every single week.